Hello boys and girls, how are you all? You must be wondering why I am saying boys and girls instead of children. Yes, today we are going to learn about ourselves, that is about men and women and about boys and girls. So, it will be a very interesting and important topic, gender equality, that is towards gender equality. So, let us begin the session, how the position of the woman in the earlier days, what is the position of the woman today and many more things. Let us begin the session now. Gender equality, towards gender equality part 1. In this class, we will discuss about what is gender and gender equality, issues related to women in Telangana growing up as boys and girls. Children, now let us begin with the meaning of gender. Gender refers to the characteristics of women, men, girls and boys that are socially constructed. So, what are the different characteristics of men, women as well as boys and girls? Those all can be referred as gender. So, what is gender equality then? It is a state in which access to rights or opportunities is unaffected by gender. In the sense, women also should get equal opportunities as well as rights with that of men. Today, we see women in Telangana have been increasingly taking up jobs outside their homes. Some are teachers, some are doctors and some others are lawyers also. Even many women participate in public life, such as contesting elections and taking important decisions along with men. How do you think this has happened, children? Yes? So, what is the main cause behind the changes that are occurred and with what the women are enjoying their rights today? This has been due to their collective participation in various agitations and proactive government policies, especially in the year 1980s and 1990s. Many women and some of the men also have supported to the women agitations, and because of that the government policies have been changed and the position of the women improved in our country. Yet in Telangana, women are far from reaching the goal of attaining equality and dignity in all spheres of life. Women are expected to do most of the household works like cleaning, cooking, washing clothes and taking care of children. So many household jobs women are expected to do, while men go out to work in the fields or factories, do shopping, etc. So, here men are the bread earners, whereas women were considered to stay back at home, including even shopping was also for women was done by men only. In many families, women who go out to work also have to do most of the household work, means there were dual responsibilities for women. They have to take care of the household activities and they even go for the jobs also, and they have to take care of the household responsibilities. In some families, men come home drunk, beat up the woman and children. The women are expected to tolerate all this silently. So, in some of the families domestic violence occur and men they beat their wife as well as their children in the drunken state. Do you think that women are naturally like that, that is tolerant and they have a lot of patience in them, or men and women are equal. There are no such significant differences among them. So, let us see. Children, some people believe that women are naturally physically weaker than men. They are more caring, loving and not quarrelsome. They are by instinct tuned to cooking, cleaning, stitching and other household works. If you go deep into each of the following qualities, you will find that they apply equally to men and women or boys and girls. Let us see some of the qualities of boys and girls, and we can judge ourselves that whether men and women or boys or girls are equal or not. Both boys and girls are brave. Isn't it, children? Both boys and girls are intelligent enough to solve so many puzzles, games, etc. And even both boys and girls are rational, that they have logical thinking, the thinking skills. So, here you can see in this slide, I am good. The boy says that he is good at maths and science, whereas the girl says that she is also good at maths and science. Means both are having same thinking skills as well as reasoning and logical skills. Children, both are talkative. Some children, both boys and girls, will be jovial, they will be talkative. Both have good IQ levels also. Both are studious. Both can get good ranks in their competitive examinations. We find brave men and women as well as coward men and women in our society. Some men will be brave, some men will be coward. Some women will be brave, some women will be coward. So, we find many men caring and loving, but we tend to attribute some qualities to men and some to women, even though there is nothing in their physical makeup which makes them to do so. Means even men also can love as well as care their children. They can be more emotional, caring and loving towards others. There is nothing wrong in being a man to be loving and caring, where it is not just the duty of the woman. Children, now let us see another slide. Men can clean and give bath to babies, or wash clothes, or prepare food for them. In many places, men do this kind of work very efficiently, but we have got used to the idea of women performing some roles as their natural qualities. See here, a man is cooking and even he can wash clothes and even do the duty of cleaning also, and there is nothing wrong in that. Children, these qualities and roles are not natural in women, but evolved over hundreds and thousands of years due to social norms. So, the society has framed certain rules and regulations. So, let us see how it had happened. Since women have been performing these roles for many centuries, we have regarded them as natural. So, women doing multiple duties, multiple tasks women is accomplishing. In reality, these rules have been made by the society. For hundreds of years, we had been living in a social order where male has an upper hand over female. If you look at history, you will note that most rulers, most religious leaders and people who made laws and rules were men itself. They made rules in such a way that women were assigned a subordinate role to men and were controlled by them, just like the land or cattle. So, like men treated women in such a way that there was complete control over women in the earlier days, because the rules were made by themselves. They were given no other rights and they were just treated like the cattle or the land, which does not speak. The cattle cannot speak and a land cannot speak. In the same way, women were also considered. Earlier the situation was so worst. There are two kinds of differences. See in this slide, children, there are two kinds of differences between men and women. First, there are natural physical differences, that is biological differences, the way men and women or boys and girls look like. But these need not cause discrimination or differences or to be ill treatment against the women. The second of the difference is made by our society, which tries to subordinate women to men and treat them unequally. So, the second difference is subordinating women to men, means women were considered lesser than men, which is completely not justifiable. Children, see in this slide, differences which led to such inequality and discrimination are called socially caused differences or gender differences. So, what are gender differences? That is, if there are differences which led to inequality or discrimination, means not treating equally, women being not treated equally and they are considered as lesser to men. So, such differences can be called as gender differences. We see so many incidences in our general life which proves that gender differences exist in our society, which are experienced right from the time when the child is born. So, let us see what are those. Growing up as boys and girls, right from the time the child is born, from that time there were so many discriminations that were shown towards the boys and girls. Let us see what are those. From the very birth, girls and boys are brought up according to many discriminatory ideas. In some families, while the birth of a boy is welcomed and celebrated in the house, the parents will be very happy. On the other hand, the birth of a girl is considered as a burden to the family. The next thing, boys are encouraged to go out, make friends, play freely, while girls are encouraged to be at home and do household work. See, the boy is playing freely, whereas girl is supposed to be at home as well as do the household work also. They say that it is like a practice for them to do the household work. Boys are encouraged to play with toys like guns, cars, trucks, bat, ball, while girls are encouraged to be at home and play with dolls and toys which are related to kitchen or household articles. Their psychology is molded in such a way that boys are supposed to be free and can be outside their homes, whereas girls, they should be at home, play with the dolls and the kitchen items so that they can be at home and get prepared for their future also. That is, after married life, how they should do all the household activities. So, boys were given more freedom in all senses, where on the other hand girls were restricted from their freedom. For example, in their dressing sense as well as in their behaviorism also. Boys were given food first, while girls were given only what is left over and when the boys have eaten in the families. So, boys can eat first, whereas girls or women have to wait and whatever left over they have to satisfy themselves with that. Boys are encouraged to go to school and study, while girls are neither sent to school in some of the families or not given sufficient time to study if they go to the school. Fewer girls are allowed to study in the higher classes. When boys fall ill, they get early medical treatment, while girls do not get proper medical attention when they fall sick. Here we can see a lot of discrimination, whereas in some other families various careers for the boys are planned beforehand, like when they are only in the 10th or when they have not even passed the 10th class, at that time only they will plan that he will become a doctor, an engineer or a scientist or a pilot, whereas the girls are told that they have to get married and settled as housewives. In some of the families, all these things will take place. So, let us go for the next slide. There are many other such examples if we continue to talk about this. To conclude, we can say that if there are no such discriminations among boys or girls and men and women, and if we understand and try to eliminate from our society, we can make a very healthy and developed society as well as a developed nation. If you look at history, you will note that most rulers, most religious leaders and people who made laws and rules were men. Men made so many rules and regulations. They were men, but there were no women leaders in that place who could make the rules and regulations. So, what had happened is that they have to make the rules even for themselves as well as the rules for the women also. There were all men who made the rules for the women as well as the men. So, though they were not in that role, but still they have to make the rules and regulations for women. So, how it has happened is that they made rules in such a way that women were assigned a subordinate role, that they were considered that they have to remain back in their homes and they need not do any other outside activity, and they have to listen to the men also, and they were controlled by them a lot. So, that is the subordinate role that was given to women, because these rules were not made by the women leaders or women rulers or the religious leaders, and they were made by the men who could not understand the problems of the women, and they considered them as subordinates and asked the women to stay back in their homes itself. So, these are the major things that has happened in the previous history. So, these kind of differences had made a vast difference in the lives of the men and women, and that continued for the next generations also. Though there were physical differences, but still that was not at all the reason or cause for the women to get discriminated. But what had happened is that these rules and regulations which were made by the society, so that has discriminated the women in a greater way, and which made the benefits to reach them at a later time. Very lately, all the better things happened to women when compared to men. Men enjoyed all the freedom earlier, but slowly, because of the agitations, because of the protest by the women, and some of the good men also gave a lot of support to the women, and they wanted the men as well as women to be treated equally, and women also should enjoy equal rights. So, because of the protest and the agitations, women are now able to enjoy more equal rights, and but still in Telangana and in other places, in some of the areas, in the rural places, still the differences are continuing, the discrimination is getting continued, and we need to educate ourselves as well as we need to educate to the other people who are ignorant that there is no significant difference between the men and women as well as the boys and girls also demand equal rights, so that it is half of the society. Women can be considered as half of the society, and therefore, equal rights should be given to women also. So, such differences which led to inequality and discrimination, they are called as socially caused differences and the gender differences also. So, due to all these differences and all, there was a lot of unequal society that had been framed, and it is the responsibility of each and every person to consider these facts and eliminate the differences. Children, we see so many incidences in our general life, such as we just feel that there is no such big difference that the parents are making towards their children or towards any other one, but actually these all things are getting continuously happening in a subconscious way, that girls are being ill treated or not treated equally. They are getting away from their rights, as well as they are unable to avail their benefits as well as equal opportunities with that of boy. For example, if an opportunity for a girl for higher education has come, parents will prefer that is it safe for the girl to go to that place, and if it is not so safe place, they will not go for providing her the better education. Instead, they want that girl to be in the home itself. So, these all things have to be changed, only then the changes can happen in our society. Children, we see that when boys fall ill in our homes generally, what is done, that they will be given the medical treatment, they will be taken to the doctor immediately in some of the families. Again I repeat that I am not talking about all the families, but in some of the families boys will be given special treatment. Okay, they will be taken to the doctor immediately if something happens, even the slightest fever also immediate medical treatment will be given. Whereas, if the girl falls ill or something happens to the girl, there will not be such attention towards that girl when the girls fall ill. So, here may not be it is willingly, but it happens naturally because it has been happening from several years continuously. From thousands of years, this kind of discrimination women have been tolerating. Even in the career opportunities also, when boys, when they are very small, when they are very young at age, and at that time itself they were the dreams would be shown to boys, and there will be a lot of financial freedom also given to the boys, and if they ask something or if they are interested to go specially, so immediately that would be done to the boys. They will not be asking again and again for that matter. The same thing, if the girl is asking, parents will start thinking about it, whether to be sent, whether to be given financial freedom or whether to send along with their friends or not. So, all these things to the school picnic or school tours and all. So, these are all the various things that will take place. Parents always think about the safety, at the same time even there is also the discrimination done. Children, so here we have discussed about so many discriminations as well as the differences, and with so many examples, and we have to understand one thing which is very important. What is that? That we should not go for discriminating the any section of the society, whether it may be any other gender or any other religion or any other caste or any other segment. So, it is no such discrimination should be made towards the boys and girls, as you are the future generations and you need to accept that everybody is equal and everyone should be treated equally, and there should not be any such discrimination that has to be done. Only then we can have a very developed and healthy nation. If all these problems are there in a nation or in the society, and if the society is submerged into all these things, then it is going to be very difficult for the society to come out of all this. Their educational needs will not be fulfilled. Children, we have come to the end of the session now. So, let us go for the evaluation part. So, the first question under evaluation is, give the list of some jobs that men and women do separately. There are so many jobs that men do, as well as there are so many jobs that women do. So, men cannot do some of the jobs that are done by women, and women cannot do some of the jobs that are done by men. So, try to make such a list where the jobs cannot be done by both the genders at the same time. The second question is, prepare an album of women who entered into professions which were considered only for men. So, earlier there were the first pilot, the first woman pilot, the first person to go onto the space, like that so many women are there who fought for themselves and reached to the highest positions. So, try to make an album of such women in different professions and write their struggles as well as how were their lives also. Children, with this we have come to the end of the class. This is the first part of Towards Gender Equality lesson. Learn about the more interesting topics such as the present situation as well as the literacy levels of the boys and girls and employment opportunities for women. All these things we will learn in the next class, that is Gender Equality Part 2. Until then, keep reading the textbook and try to understand this concept in a better way. For better understanding of the concepts, solve the worksheets. Please visit the official site of SIET for the worksheets. Until then, thank you and take care.